Call to order Board of Trustees regular meeting Thursday, January 19th, 2023 at 5:30 p.m. Roll call. Trustee Lopez.
Present.
Mayor Pro Tem Brambolo.
Present.
Trustee Mercer.
Present.
Trustee Archuleta's absent. Mayor Pro Tem Brambolo, would you do the opening prayer? And Trustee Lopez, would you do the pledge, please?
Heavenly Father, we ask for your guidance as we go through this meeting today. Please watch over the elderly and the sick in our community and over our responders and the military, wherever they may be. Amen.
Amen.
To
the flag of the United States and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Approval of the agenda. Are there any changes to the agenda? If not, I need a motion to approve the agenda, please.
I'll make a motion to approve the agenda as stands.
I'll second it.
Motion by Trustee Mercer, second by Trustee Lopez. Mayor Pro Tem Brambolo.
Yes.
Trustee Lopez.
Yes.
Trustee Mercer.
Yes.
Thank you. Public comments. Being that we forgot, we're gonna give you a little. It doesn't matter. Just come up. Just come up. And then Eileen. Well, whatever you want, you can.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so I do want to apologize. I didn't understand that I needed to be on the agenda 72 hours ahead of time. I understand I get about 3 minutes to speak. I may take a little bit longer. I'm here looking for both, just to inform, and I'm looking for help. So probably the people in this room are not aware that on October 12th, one of the students at the Milan Elementary brought in a loaded BB gun and 2 knives onto the campus. Okay, so the staff took care of it. She was suspended the following day, but they have now let her return to the school. So it is my understanding, and again, I could be wrong. I haven't been able to get valid information. This thing has been really kept under the rug. The parents were not informed of the incident. None of the parents were informed. The staff was not informed of the details. The staff was only sent an email 1 week later that said that we had a threat, but that had been taken care of. So on the Friday before we were to return to school on the 5th, I found out that they were going to let her to return to school. Now, the New Mexico state law is supposed to state that any child who comes to a campus with a weapon is supposed to be expelled for the full year. So in this particular case, she was suspended for 2 weeks. I understand, and again, I haven't been able to confirm this, it's just what I've been getting through the rumor mill and stuff, is that the hearing officer, who was a Gallup hearing officer, it wasn't a Grants hearing officer that was used to hear the hearing, did rule that she should be suspended for the full year. It's my understanding, and again, I haven't been able to confirm this, that it was our superintendent who overrode that decision and allowed her to go back to school 2 weeks later, and she was at school at the month of November at the special ed building there in Grants, but has been allowed back on our campus as of the 5th of this month at our campus. And this girl is a threat to the 443 students that are there. She doesn't take the rules seriously. She just pretty much walks around the campus like she owns it. So I don't know where to go. Your mayor got one of my letters. I have mailed 25 letters to people who I thought may help with this situation. I also mailed one to Max. I contacted the Channel 7 News to try to get this out there because, first of all, these parents in Milan do not know that their kids are at risk when they're going to school. They were never notified of the situation. They were never notified she was returning to school. I don't think that's fair. So the Channel 7 News asked me some of the details. I don't know if a police report was made. I don't know if Max truly overrode that decision and why. And I think these are things that as parents and grandparents, we have the right to know. So again, I guess I'm basically asking for help. Other than writing letters and coming to the school board and coming to you guys, is there something else I can do?
I don't know. I read the letter that you wrote. I showed it to a manager, and I did contact one of the school board members, and I showed it to him. And I think it's up to them to the school board. I think.
So we don't feel like as a community that the parents should be informed and be aware of the situation?
Yes, of course. That's not even a question. I think they should be informed.
Okay, so help me, guys. Where do I go from here?
How old is this child? What grade?
Pardon
What
me?
grade?
6th grade. She's the 6th grade.
She's a 6th grade?
Yeah.
And what time of day did this happen?
So it happened, the discovery of the weapons was after school during the archery practice. So it was myself that was sitting at McDonald's with one of the other 6th grade students, and she looked at me. She got a text message from one of the 6th graders that was at archery practice, and the text message said, "I am really scared. Brittany is in here with a loaded BB gun, and she just shot it off." So I'm like, she shows me the message, and I'm like, oh my God. Well, I knew I was too far. I was at McDonald's. So I called my niece, who's a teacher here, and I said, "Can you go check this out for me?" Well, on her way to the gym, so this student's grandmother works over there as a custodian, and she rushed in and got the student and the weapons and left the premises. So my niece and none of the other adults, I believe, and again, I can't confirm this, I believe the archery teacher, Mrs. Phillips, is the only adult who's seen the weapons. So it was 3:30 in the afternoon, but she had them all day. And according to the kids, once the kids got interviewed, she had shot the BB gun off in the class when the teacher stepped out of the class because the kids were saying it wasn't real. So she shot it off to prove it was real. So that's even more scary to me than her having them, is she was brave enough to shoot it off to prove that it was real.
Was this reported to our police department?
So again, I heard it was, but I cannot confirm that for you. Everything has really been kept under the rug on this one, and it's pretty upsetting to me that, so I have a grandchild who's at the middle school, and when they had their anytime they've had any kind of incident like this at the middle school, all the parents immediately get a text message saying this is what happened. That was not done, and I think it should have been done. I think the parents should also have had a say-so on whether or not she could come back to the school. So I am trying to work this through the school board. And I did send every one of the school board members a letter But I'm feeling really frustrated right now because I don't feel like it's being really given the attention that it needs to be given.
This was at Milan Elementary.
Yes, right here at Milan Elementary.
Are there cops there after school? If this happened about 3:30,
It's 3:30 and it was during the archery. They had that 2 week of extra archery practice and stuff for the tournament. So yeah, it was at 3:30 in the afternoon on October 12th.
I really don't have an answer to that. I think that should be like to the school board because they're the ones that are in charge.
Beat that one up.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
thank you.
This is the action we wanted.
It's Eileen. Are you gonna?
Sure.
Okay. And again, we're gonna give Eileen a little bit more time because it was our fault. We didn't come to hear her out first.
Good evening, Mayor Gonzalez, trustees, manager.
You can hook to my hotspot.
Eileen Chavez Yarbrough with Civil Community Economic Development Foundation. I'm here to give you a report about the this past year's activities or 2022's activities. And then I wanted to kind of give you a short summary of your return on your investment from CCEDF over the past 12 years. And so I'm not going to go through this verbatim, but I'm going to hit some highlights and explain what some of the abbreviations are and things like that. But if you go to the first quarter page, everything that is in this document was either specific to the Milan Industrial Park or the village, city, and county were all part of the effort. So you can see they're either prefaced with MIP or village. And so just so you'll know that. And then if you go to the second page, that talks mostly about the recruitment effort on behalf of the village of Milan. And so this describes all of the travel that was involved to market the Milan Industrial Park and the number of appointments that we had while we were there. And so you can see there in the first quarter, we attended 3 different events and generated, about 25 to 30 leads. Those have come down to 2 potential recruitment opportunities. Those are called PROs. After talking to these companies, we determine if they have a project that we can hop on immediately. And so out of that effort, there were 2 that I submitted a response to saying that we have the qualifications for those. And then on the third page there of the first quarter, we were working with Cibola County, Grants Main Street, City, and Village on an incubator that would be for entrepreneurs and home-based and small businesses and provide them different kinds of training to help them be more successful and profitable in their businesses. And this was a county-wide effort. And so we continued our work on into the first quarter on that. And then in the first quarter, I would say it was probably at the end of March when we started having, CCEDF started having conversations with Homestake Mining Company about how they could help the village of Milan. And so we started talking about the acquiring the NGL property. And then we go on to the second quarter. Again, that first page is travel, related specifically to the Milan Industrial Park. The Space Symposium, we were looking at the airport and some open land in and around the industrial park for drone testing and different kinds of static flight testing as well as manufacturing and transportation, air transportation. And then the Detroit, Cleveland, specific to transportation and food processing and manufacturing. On the FAM tour, instead of us going out of state, we have 4 consultants come to New Mexico, and we actually get about 30 minutes to an hour of face-to-face time with each one of them to pitch our community or our property or whatever it is that that we have. And the Milan Industrial Park is the #1 piece of property that I pitch when I go on these trips. I don't know if you all realize this, but we are looked at as the #1 shovel-ready site for rail in the state of New Mexico. It's ready for investment. It's ready to be built out. It's located logistically very favorably. I-25, I-40, 11 hours to the ports in California. So we're trying to market your property for the best and highest use in property tax, in job creation, and in wages for those jobs. And so some sales missions and trade shows I go to over and over again because they're specific to what we're attracting. And some I try out to see, hey, you know, like the drone testing, we have plenty of open land. Could we accommodate that? It wasn't a winner, so we're not going back to that show. And then on the third page of the second quarter, we continued to meet with the incubator and started to work on the process of forming the nonprofit to do so. And then with the Outdoor Recreation Initiative, which everybody's a part of, we employed someone to develop a branding campaign for the entire county. Moving on to third quarter, we received a grant. 12,000 of it will be used for certification for the Milan Industrial Park, and then 2 other events there that we attended. The Global Energy Show resulted in 2 PROs being generated from that show. And then also attended a groundwater conference, and then we had an intern this summer at a very discounted price that provided 3 studies for us, 1 for Milan, 1 for grants, and 1 for the county. And in the third quarter, we responded to 5 PROs in addition to all the travel, the outdoor rec, all that other stuff. At the end of the third quarter, Homestake Mining Company began negotiating with NGL regarding the sale of that, I want to say it was 275 acres. And then a steering committee has been meeting twice monthly over the course of the year, and set a community stakeholder meeting in August to inform the public of our efforts. And then on into the fourth quarter, more professional development, but more reaching out to municipalities that have rail and business parks. How do they do it? Learning from my peers and making contacts for funding sources. On the, let's see, here we go. On the last page there well, it's the third page, I guess. Met with the State Office of Engineer, and they had some suggestions for you all on your water rights and how to proceed with making sure that they are available to you when you need them in the manner that you need them. Excuse me. And then also in the fourth quarter, Homestake Mining Company announced the possible purchase of the NGL property for the industrial park. And then we provided 7 letters of support for Matt Taylor's Mount Taylor Manufacturing to receive a $500,000 grant for upgrade of equipment and purchase. We submitted 3 legislative priorities, one for each entity, $7.5 million for Phase 1 of the Milan Industrial Park infrastructure, $2.5 for the hangar and terminal, the Grants Milan Airport, and then $60,000 for the outdoor recreation effort. And then just so that you'll know, the Pruitt-Milan Transportation Plan, the final draft was released, and we are sourcing funding now for the planning and design phase. I can either go on or stop and ask questions now and then finish up with this second piece here.
You can go on if you want then.
Okay, sure. So this second piece here is called Studies and Assessments. And basically what I've done is I've gone back to 2011.
They may be getting back on right now. I just saw the Village pop up.
So I went back to from 2011 to present day and listed all of the studies that have been, the studies and assessments that have been performed on behalf of the Village of Milan and specific to the Milan Industrial Park. 11 of them, if you were to price at a minimum of $50,000 a piece, that brings you to $550,000, of which CCEDF contributed $200,000 of that. One of those studies was alone $750,000 plus that was grant funded, and $1,100,000 was funded through grants through COG. Now know that all of these specific studies would not have been commissioned through COG had it not been for economic development. Okay, so we have a total of approximately, probably more, $1.3 million in studies and assessments. And over the last 12 years, Milan has contributed $405,000 to Cibola Communities Economic Development Foundation. And so you have received a return of investment of 3 times your investment just in the studies alone that you have received and didn't have to pay for. And now this doesn't include the cost of all the travel, the marketing, you know, the money that you all give us goes towards that effort here. And so for a whole year, I would say it's pretty fair to say that CCEDF is working very, very hard on behalf of the Village of Milan to get the park built out and to attract tenants in there so that we can create those jobs. And I'm very thankful for your support, and I would like to have you all continue utilizing our services. We really feel that we are on the precipice of greatness and just ready for that park to be built out. We've got lots of inquiries. It used to be maybe one a month. Now we're talking one a week. And so the sooner we get the rail, the sooner that we can get somebody in there. So thank you for this time. I appreciate it. I'd be happy to answer any questions if you'd like.
Anybody have questions? Ms. Brumble? No?
No, I think our main concern is that we need a rail. And I know several years back that they had discussed or talked to somebody in Los Lunas that said that, you know, maybe he could help. Is there any way we could contact that person and see if...
Well, so we are all, if the NGL sale goes through, then we're back to good on all of the plans that we have in place because it includes that property. And all of the plans are ready to go. We're at the point now where we just need funds to get the infrastructure on the ground. And so that's what we're doing. pulling together basically this report to show our legislators to say, hey, now is the time to invest in this because this can really be, you know, a huge multiplier and a big benefit to the community to have that infrastructure to create those jobs.
Anybody else? No, thank you.
Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Approval of minutes, Board of Trustees regular meeting, December 15th, 2022. Board of Trustees special meeting, January 6th, 2023.
I make a motion to approve the minutes of Board of Trustees regular meeting on December the 15th, 2022, and Board of Trustees special meeting January the 6th of 2023.
I'll second it.
Motion by Mayor Pro Tem Brumbelow, second by Trustee Mercer. Trustee Lopez.
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Brumbelow.
Yes.
Trustee Mercer.
Yes.
Thank you. Action discussion. Acceptance of municipal court cash journal for December 2022.
I make a motion to accept the municipal court cash journal for December 2022.
I'll second it.
Motion by Mayor Pro Tem Brumbelow, second by Trustee Lopez. Trustee Mercer.
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Brumbelow. Trustee Lopez.
Yes.
Thank you. Acceptance of State of New Mexico Audit Report.
Okay, Jeff is here or joining us via Zoom to give us a rundown on our audit report, and you have a copy on you.
Hi, everyone. I'm Jeff Mamero. Can everyone hear me?
Yes, sir.
Okay, I'm Jeff Mamero with Southwest Accounting Solutions. I was your fiscal year 2022 auditor. I'll try and make this as succinct as possible. So does everyone that needs a report, they have a copy currently in front of them?
Yes. Yeah, we do.
Okay, let's just start going through the relevant items then. Let's start on page 12 and 13. And your audit kind of lays out like a book. So you'll be looking at these two together. This is your statement of net position.
So, Jeff,
Yeah.
Yeah.
So 12 and 13, I'm just saying it's the same statement. It's just a 2-page statement due to the amount of activities. Doesn't all fit on one page. So there's your cash and cash equivalents. This all flows up into one. So this is an entity-wide statement. As you can see, you have roughly at 6/30/22, $6 million in cash, entity-wide. Roughly 20% of that was restricted. There's nothing in your assets that really sticks out, so I'm not going to go into it right now. But if anyone had any questions, comments, or concerns about those, you can feel free to ask. So we'll focus on the 13. This is your liabilities and your net position entity-wide. I'll just mention that OPEB and pension liability, which quite frankly is the majority of your liabilities. Those aren't your actual liabilities. Those are paid by the state of New Mexico. However, because of rules and regulations and in the accounting world, we are asked to present them for each individual entity, even though the state of New Mexico makes the payments on them. But you can see in your net position below that you have nothing that's gone negative. So you have no negative net position on this statement, and that's what we really like to see. So that means you're in solid standing entity-wide. So if there's any questions about this statement, I'll answer them now. If not, we can go ahead and move on.
Any questions? No, go ahead.
Okay, great. Let's move now then to page 18. Or 19 actually, because 18 is blank. And this just kind of explains, how it flows up. So that statement we just looked at, The government wide on your balance sheet for those individual funds, there are a lot of items that aren't going to be included in the balance sheet. So this just kind of explains how it gets to that statement in that position. There's nothing really glaring on here either. So I'll just point that out for you. So then we can move to page 20. And this is where your individual funds for the government are located as far as your revenues and expenditures. This is also a really solid SRE in the fact that if you see, go down to that line where it says excess and the deficiency of revenues over expenditures, your debt service is the only negative here. So there aren't a lot of entities where something doesn't go negative other than debt service, which debt service is funded from the general fund generally. So it has a tendency to go negative. But the fact that all of these are positive is a really good sign of solid fiscal responsibility for 2022. So with that, let's go ahead and move on to your proprietary funds, your business funds. So that's going to be on page 26. And we kind of already took a look at this because it does flow up entity-wide on the statement in that position that we looked at prior. But this is just where you can see the joint utility in and of itself without anything else. So it's a little bit easier to look at. Once again, nothing really glaring on here. All your net position, both of them actually, there's only two. You have capital assets and unrestricted. They're both positive. So we like to see that. Then we can move on to 27, and that's going to be the SRE. So here is something that's really solid for Milan, and I'll point this out on page 27. If you look at your operating income on this page, you are positive. What I'll be honest with you, that's pretty rare because depreciation, this is a full accrual base presentation. Depreciation is added even though it doesn't have an exact dollar figure, it's not cash. So that usually pulls places negative. So even with your depreciation included in the operating expenses, you're still positive. So that's a really good sign. The only thing I would say is, due to inflation for your utilities, and we want your utility/enterprise funds to run as much like a business as possible, just always be aware that, you want steady rate changes so you don't have to hit the citizens with a big rate change all at once. But I'll be honest with you, this is one of the better enterprise SREs, so, statement of activities basically, that I've seen this year. And I worked on 20 audits. So, kudos to everyone for having that positive. That's good. And then as you can see down below, your net position increased overall by 253,000. A lot of that, you had some transfers that came in as well, which increased that. So we're going to skip a huge chunk of the audit just because it's something that everyone can go on and look at in their own time. I don't want to take up everyone's time at once here in the notes. So if you go through the notes, if you ever have any questions or concerns or comments, you can pass them on to me, and I will be more than willing to answer them. But we're going to move back all the way to the back of the audit, which is page 92. And I'll give everyone a little bit of time to get back here.
Ready.
Okay, so page 92. So here we go. This is where everyone gets to really be proud of themselves. Your report, your opinion is unmodified. That is the best opinion you can get. This is what we're looking for. Let's mention that you didn't have an unmodified opinion a couple of years ago. So this unmodified opinion is great. True success story with Milan. And here's the even better news. You see those prior year audit findings. You had 4 last year. This year you have none. So you're one of the few entities now in the state of New Mexico that has an unmodified opinion and no audit findings. Basically, this is as good a results as you could want. Now, we want to be diligent and stay like this so that you don't have any going forward, because you're in a great position now, especially considering where you were. No one's going to have any issues lending you money, giving you grants, et cetera, because of the results here. This is the exact results that you're looking for. With that, I want to give kudos to management. Management, exceptionally well done, exceptionally easy to work with. We want to give credit to governance for making the proper decisions to improve the audit report to this point. And just overall, this was a really well done audit report for fiscal year ending June 30th, 2022. One of the best results in the state of New Mexico. So everyone can give themselves a pat on the back and be really proud of that. And with that, I'll just open it to any questions, concerns, comments anyone might have.
Okay, I'm going to start it off with a comment. I don't have any questions because if you don't have any findings, I don't think we have any questions. So I do have a comment, and when I learned about this, it was before we could actually go out and say it. I was extremely happy. I was so proud of our staff. I was so proud of all our employees, and with that, I thank you very much, and I am extremely proud of the Village of Milan.
Let me reinforce that, because when we did initially take the audits, this wasn't an exemplary municipality like it is now. So there was a lot of work and effort that went into it to get these books to the point where we're so comfortable with the presentation that we don't have findings. And that took a lot of due diligence by governance, a lot of work by management. I just want to reinforce that when I see one like this, one that doesn't make me lose sleep at night, one that just has these kind of results, there is a time to give some credit to people, and so I'm just reinforcing that here. Well done, guys.
Okay, anybody else? Questions, comments? No, with that, thank you so much. We really appreciate this. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, with that, we need a motion to gladly accept the State of New Mexico audit report.
I make a motion to accept the State of New Mexico audit report.
And I'll second it.
Motion by Mayor Pro Tem Brambolo, second by Trustee Lopez. Trustee Mercer.
Yes.
Trustee Lopez.
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Brambolo.
Yes.
Thank you. Approval of finance report.
Okay, it's quarterly, so we have the fancy presentation. I'm sorry, guys. Only works on one side. Okay. So what we're going to cover tonight is the finance report for December, bar number 6, and then we'll have the approval of the finance report, and then we'll move right into the quarterly. So our finance report for the month of December, we did really well. We've seen gains in our revenues. Our expenditures are all within expectation and where we need to be. Our pooled cash is in balance. Our GRTs were down. So I've done some research. I've reached out to TRD. We haven't nailed down why exactly. So this would be the GRTs that are collected in October by the businesses, paid to the state in November, and then given to us in December. So we were down about $25,000. There was nothing blaring when we went through the reports to see. Everything just seemed to be a little lower in October. Maybe they were saving for Christmas, maybe something else. I'm not sure, but it was down a little bit. However, it was still above what we had originally budgeted. We budgeted around $245,000 a month in GRTs. So with the $266,000 in GRTs, although it's lower than we've had this fiscal year, it's still above what we budgeted. So we're still doing just fine. So on your payment confirmations, I don't know why I didn't write them all. So I have it here. I have to look at it. So we had 188 payables with a total of 107 payments for the month of December for a total of 1,140,181.77 cents. We had 102 regular checks, 4 voided checks, and 1 bank draft. Now, I do want to say that the reason that that was such a big amount in payout is because we had projects. We're doing airport, we're doing the fire department, so there was big payouts in December, and that's what that amounted to. We have completed about 50% of our year, and so far we're right on track for the budgeting process. That's the finance report.
Okay.
Oh, sorry, I'm gonna stop you. I have a question. So the finance department is working on getting ready for the budget season, which starts hard and heavy February 1st. As you know, I've already started working on some of it with HR and management. However, we would like some guidance. Last year was the first year we presented a salary schedule to the governing body for village to use. And so I was sure last year that we would see things that needed to be changed as it's a new thing that we're using, and we absolutely did. So we kind of wanted to meet with you a little bit and see, one of the things that we noticed is that we weren't classifying our employees exactly correct. We have some in our water department that we were classifying as laborers, and they're certified water operators. So their salary wage or their salary range changes dramatically because they're certified water operators. So we want to make those corrections. But before we did that, we wanted to ask, would you rather see, like you did last year, that had the 9 years with the cost of living and merit included in there, or would you rather just see 9 years with just cost of living, taking the merit out of it, allowing that to go to management and department heads? Or would you like to see a range of, this is the low range of pays, this is the mid range of pays, and this is the high range of pays? Like, what would you guys like us to present this year as the tool that we use?
Okay, multiple choice. Which one do you want? Better be. Second one.
I kind of like the first one.
The
you
first
know,
one.
yeah, how it was last year, right?
So the last year was a 9-year range. It included cost of living as well as merit.
That way there's no surprises, right?
Well, the problem that we ran into and why we're asking to change it to a different way is what happened is the salary schedule, when it's voted on, becomes a public record.
Right.
So some employees can come and say, hey, look, I've been here this long. This is what I should be making, whether they've earned that merit raise or not. And so if we take the merit out of it, then
that's
that
better
becomes a department management
Right.
decision.
More control over
More
it.
control over it. And then the third option, again, is just kind of a range. So you would have a beginning salary, high and low, a mid salary, say they've been doing this job for 5 years, high and low, and then a highest, high and low. So you would have, they would fit into one of those categories, and the pay would be based on their experience, qualifications, and those kinds of things.
So for the village as an entity, the third option probably is the best, safest one to
Right.
keep us out of trouble.
Right. And what the third one does is it allows us to have that little bit of play for an employee that, say, comes in and has been working in water for 10 years, bringing the certifications, bringing the experience, the know-how to the village. We can pay them as an asset instead of starting them down at the bottom of the first year.
Right.
So that's what the third one will do. Give us a little more room to negotiate those wages and still stay within what's fair and right.
Any other questions?
And that salary would then be put Like if they go in for the interview, they would know where they would be starting at?
So it wouldn't be that way. What we would do when we advertise it is we would advertise the low or the mid. Do you know what I mean? We wouldn't advertise the high because when they come in asking for the high, they're going to have that certification, that experience, that
Right.
kind of stuff. So we would advertise depending on what they decide, either the low or the mid,
Right.
and then with room for negotiation depending on experience.
Yeah, because then you might negotiate them in lower,
Right.
which would help us out.
Yes. And we're just trying to make it fair, but still have a guideline to stick within so we can keep the wages where they need to be.
Anybody else? So, are we okay with number 3? Or C, whatever you want to call it?
I think 3.
That,
Okay,
Okay,
okay.
I will put that together.
And now I need a motion to approve the finance report.
I'll make a motion to approve the finance report.
I'll second the motion.
A motion by trustee Mercer, second by Mayor Pro Tem Brumble. Trustee Lopez,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Brumble,
Yes.
trustee Mercer.
Yes.
Thank you. Resolution 2023-007, bar 6.
Okay, so bar number 6 is actually a good bar. We received money for the police department for special revenue. This is a reimbursement for step grants and other special services. So the bar is including the revenue and the expense for that. We also received the retention and recruitment grant for the police department. That's budgeted in this bar. Again, the revenue and the expense side of it. We did get the first disbursement, or we will be getting the first disbursement of $75,000. It has to be spent by June 30th. So the chief, the manager, and everybody's trying to work together, as well as other local entities, so that so we're all kind of on the same page. The next part is the fire department's new grant for phase 2 on the building remodel. That the revenue and expense are budgeted in this bar. And then the last part of it is the Clean Water State Revolving Fund. I can never remember the abbreviations. We have funding for the design, both the revenue and expense in this bar.
Questions? If not, I need a motion to approve, please.
I make a motion to approve resolution 2023-007, bar 6.
I'll second it.
Motion by Mayor Pro Tem Brumble, excuse me. Second by trustee Mercer. Trustee Lopez,
Yes.
trustee Mercer,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Brumble.
Yes.
Thank you. Resolution 2023-008, quarterly finance report.
All right, here's our second quarter report. So we're gonna go through this like we normally do. I want to make sure and show you that everything matches, and what we're reporting to the state is truth and actual, and that we're in a good spot. So this is our recap. This is what's going to be turned into the state, along with, of course, every little line that goes in there. As you can see, our recap is great. We've done a lot of growing already this fiscal year, and we're only halfway through. We have big projects in the process. We're doing a great job. So after everything's put in, our revenues minus our expenses equal the fiscal activity that matches your budget report. For our fiscal activity was $3,371,553.70, and it does match what was on our budget report. Our adjustments. Now, we did have an odd adjustment on the first quarter because we had some accounts payables pending. What had happened is we had voided checks, and we voided them, so they were showing that they were still hanging out right at the fiscal year, or this quarter change, and it was a mess. But anyway, all the adjustments now are mostly rounding issues. There's a big adjustment in fire protection. That's an asset change due to their loan revenue with NMFA. And joint utility right now, it took me a minute to figure this out, but I want to explain it. So what this is we found an error in our Tyler bookkeeping system where when we give customer water deposits, it's not doing the interfund transfer and taking the money from the 705 and putting it into the 506. So that money where it shows a negative is owed to the 506 from the 706. And so we'll get that corrected. We're working with Tyler on that. So we already know that it's there and we're going to fix it. This is our investments. We did change a few investments. We moved 200,000 from one of our savings into another savings that has a higher interest rate or an interest rate at all. And we moved some of the funding from Transit's checking account into one of their savings accounts. So that was the change in investments. This was our final report. If you guys have any questions or want to go over it, I'm happy to answer those. One of the new things is our lodger's tax now has to be turned in with our quarterly. So I included that with your quarterly report. And if you guys have any questions, want to touch on anything, well, I am here and happy to answer.
Any questions?
How many, are paying for lodger's tax? How many do we have?
One.
Just one?
And where does that, which one is that?
It's the Barris.
Oh, okay, that's right. We talked about it.
Any other questions? Any other questions? No. If not, I need a motion to approve.
I make a motion to approve Resolution 2023-008, the quarterly finance report.
I'll second it.
Motion by Mayor Pro Tem Brumble, second by Trustee Lopez. Trustee Mercer.
Yes.
Trustee Lopez.
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Brumble.
Yes.
Thank you. Resolution 2023-001, Open Meeting Act.
Mr. Mayor, members of the board, this is a resolution that we do every year. It's basically general housekeeping. However, our attorney has found something that he feels is missing in it, and I would like to table it till the next meeting.
Okay. Any motion to table the?
I make a motion to table Resolution 2023-001.
I'll second it.
Motion by Mayor Pro Tem Brumble, second by Trustee Lopez. Trustee Mercer.
Yes.
Trustee Lopez.
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Brumble.
Yes.
Thank you. Resolution 2023-002, CDBG Annual Requirements.
Mr. Mayor, members of the board, this is also a housekeeping resolution. This has to be done every year to allow us to do the compliance for the CDBG grant, which we are looking into doing for the next fiscal year.
Okay. Do we hear a motion to approve?
I make a motion to approve Resolution 2023-002.
I'll second it.
Motion by Mayor, excuse me. Motion by Mayor Pro Tem Brumble, second by Trustee Lopez. Trustee Mercer.
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Brumble.
Yes.
Trustee Lopez.
Yes.
Thank you. Resolution 2023-003, Designation of Financial Institution.
Mr. Mayor, members of the board, this is also another housekeeping item. During a training I recently took, I found that most of the municipalities do not do this. And we can be proud of ourselves that we are on top of it. And I'm asking that you approve this tonight.
Okay, thank you. Do I hear a motion to approve that? You can jump in, Mr. Mercer, if you want.
This is the designation of the financial institution, is that what that is?
Yeah, 20. Oh,
What changed, or,
It basically states where we do our business, what bank we do our business
oh,
through.
okay.
Okay.
So I make a motion to approve resolution 2023-003, designation of financial institution.
I'll second it.
Motion by Mayor Pro Tem Brumble, seconded by Trustee Mercer. Trustee Lopez,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Brumble,
Yes.
Trustee Mercer.
Yes.
Thank you. Resolution 2023-004, establishing business hours of village administrative offices for calendar year 2023.
Mr. Mayor, members of the board, this is also another housekeeping item. It establishes the hours that we will be open, so that the public has that information prior to.
Okay, any questions?
No.
No.
If not, I need a motion to approve it, please.
I'll make a motion to accept resolution 2023-004 for business hours for the village.
I'll second the motion.
Motion by Trustee Mercer, second by Mayor Pro Tem Brumble. Trustee Lopez,
Yeah. Yes.
Mayor- Mayor Pro Tem Brumble,
Yes.
Trustee Mercer.
Yes.
Thank you. Resolution 2023-005, Robert's Rule of Law, of Order, I'm sorry. Robert's Rule of Order.
Mr. Mayor, members of the board, this is also another housekeeping item. This basically states that we will follow Robert's Rules of Order. And I'm asking that you pass it for this year.
Questions? If not, I need a motion to approve.
I'll make a motion to approve resolution 2023-005, Robert's Rule of Order.
I'll second it.
Motion by Mayor Pro Tem Brumble, second by Trustee Mercer. Trustee Lopez,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Brumble,
Yes.
Trustee Mercer.
Yes.
Thank you. Resolution 2023-006, inspection of public records, designating the manager as the turn page custodian.
Mr. Mayor, members of the board, this is also another housekeeping item. This basically sets the guidelines as to how information for public records will be handled.
Questions? If not, I need a motion to approve.
I'll make a motion to accept resolution 2023-006 for inspection of public records.
I second it.
Motion by Trustee Mercer, second by Trustee Lopez. Mayor Pro Tem Brumble,
Yes.
Trustee Lopez,
Yes.
Trustee Mercer.
Yes.
Thank you. Compliance with the New Mexico Governmental Conduct Act, ethics, and conflict of interest disclosure.
Mr. Mayor, members of the board, this is an additional housekeeping item. Basically, it gives notice to the public of any businesses you might be involved. So this is a disclosure issue that is set forth by the state of New Mexico. And it basically covers that issue, allowing the public to know if there is a conflict or not for any businesses you might be involved in.
Questions? No? If not, I need a motion to approve it.
I make a motion to approve compliance with New Mexico Governmental Conduct Act, ethics, and conflict of interest disclosure.
I'll second it.
Motion by Mayor Pro Tem Brumble, second by Trustee Lopez. Trustee Mercer,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Brumble,
Yes.
Trustee Lopez.
Yes.
Thank you. Fire Department Phase 2 cost approval.
Mr. Mayor, members of the board, this is a cost proposal that we received from Facility Bill for the second phase of the fire station. As you well know, the money has been acquired, and the facility build is on state contract. So we're asking tonight, are they on? Yes. That you approve them. However, before you do, we have Louis. Logan. Okay, we have Logan who can answer any questions that you might have at this time.
Daniel, did you want to? No? Okay, anybody have any questions for the gentleman?
Facility Bill, do you guys want to give a brief rundown of what we're going to be doing?
I can. This is Mark.
Yes.
Hmm.
Yes, this is phase 2, so it's the second floor. We worked on the first floor, which is phase 1. This is phase 2. So the intent is to complete the project by putting. I think we have a kitchen and we're doing restrooms up there. It's not accessible. That's okay. There's a couple offices. The intent of putting the offices upstairs is that originally we wanted to do bedrooms, but if we do bedrooms on the second floor, we will have to install a sprinkler system throughout the building. And that's a huge cost. And so we are just calling them offices and leave it at that. So there is this interior stair that will go from the upstairs to the downstairs, as well as an exterior stair that's existing.
Is that it? Okay.
Yeah.
Does anybody have any questions for him? When do you think you're going to start on phase 2?
Proposal back from you.
All right.
Purchase order or proposal.
Okay. Any other questions for the gentleman?
Timeline about how long you think it'll take?
About 4 to 5 months after receiving until all materials are ordered. So whatever they pick for materials, we'll get delivery dates from our suppliers, and that'll determine the final schedule, but approximately 4 to 5 months.
Very good.
And none of that's going to interfere with the day-to-day basis, of the fire department, right?
No, sir.
All right. Thank you. Any other questions? Okay, if not, I need a motion to approve the department phase 2 cost proposal.
I'll make a motion to approve the fire department phase 2 cost proposal.
I'll second it.
Motion by trustee Lopez, second by trustee Mercer. Mayor Pro Tem Brumble,
Yes.
trustee Lopez,
Yes.
trustee Mercer.
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you.
You all.
Thank you. Re-plat of property on Stanley Road.
Mr. Mayor, members of the board, this is a project that we're working on the lift station. No, the re-plat. Oh, the re-plat. So,
So we had a gentleman request a replat of his property. Basically what he's doing is dividing the one property into two, which will allow him to request the rezoning and allow him to place a mobile home on the property if that is approved. So I might allow for you guys to look at it if you'd like. This is on the corner of Stanley and 605. I don't know if you guys have noticed, there's a big garage out there. So
Yeah.
the property right now is one piece of land. He's wanting to divide it into two to allow him to use it for two separate uses instead of one. I don't know if you guys.
One will be for living and the other one will be for his business.
Yes, so that depends on if you all approve the rezone at the next meeting. So that's not on this agenda. This is just the replat.
Okay. Any questions? No? If not, I need a motion to approve.
Make a motion to approve the replat of the property on Stanley Road.
I hear a second.
I'll second.
Motion by trustee Mercer, second by trustee Lopez. Mayor Pro Tem Brumble.
Yes.
Trustee Mercer.
Yes.
Trustee Lopez.
Yes.
Thank you. Task order with Wilson and Company for water system improvements.
Mr. Mayor, Mr. Mayor, members of the board, representatives from Wilson and Company are here to explain the projects and answer any questions you may have.
Good evening, Mayor Gonzalez and members of the board. I did have a couple handouts for you. The first handout is that says the water improvements on there, and it has the scope of work. This was funded by the Water Trust Board loan grant that the village got approved for $2.9 million to do well and tank rehabilitation with a SCADA system, develop water system as-built throughout your whole community, complete a hydraulic model. Some of the major construction items are rehab of 3 wells, which include, the pumps, motors, foundation, concrete slabs, and electrical upgrades to bring them all up to code. 2 of the wells, B35 and B50, are in dire straits with the village, and they're earmarked to, we'll design new well replacements for those. The tank rehabilitation is all 3 tanks will get revamped with new coatings on the inside and the outside, and along with any OSHA safety to bring them up to code. So that's the water project for you. Any questions?
Any questions?
Yes. When does this project start?
I think the Water Trust Board was signed in November. So as soon as the task order is issued, we could start right away with, and we'll start with aerial photography of the entire village, along with the as-built survey of the system, and then we will get our hydrogeologist right on board so you could get some well sightings for those 2 replacements, because I know in their dire need, and we'll get on them right away to get them up designed so we could get out to construction on them.
Any other questions on this one? No? Thank you. Okay, if not, I need a motion to approve task order with
So,
Wilson.
I make a motion to approve the task order with Wilson and Company for the water system improvements.
I'll second it.
Motion by Mayor Pro Tem Brumble, second by Trustee Lopez. Trustee Mercer.
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Brumble.
Yes.
Trustee Lopez.
Yes.
Thank you. Okay, we move on to task order with Wilson and Company for sewer system improvements design.
Mr. Mayor, members of the board, this is the representative from Wilson and Company is here to explain this project and answer any questions you may have.
Mayor Gonzalez, member of the board. I guess I didn't introduce myself. I'm Mark Nassie. I'm a senior water wastewater engineer. I guess it's been a long day, so I apologize.
I met you, I talked to you quite a bit, so I kind of...
I know, I apologize. And also here with me is a project engineer, Jenna Slate for Wilson and Company.
Good to see you guys again. Thank you for having me.
So I apologize. I was, too focused. And then the sewer collection system improvements, we completed a PER a couple years ago. The village and Denise and obtained a 100% grant for design phase through the Clean Water Act revolving fund for the design of it. They has not secured the construction of it yet, but typically it goes into the design part, and then they go ahead and fund the construction part. And they've been, it's usually pretty successful in that methodology. The scope of this one is to replace 2 of the remaining lift stations and installing SCADA controls that will match up with the water SCADA system, so you'll have it all in one place. And it will also include linking the third Stanley lift station to that SCADA system. Design of and construction of the design of the Berry Hill subdivision that you've been planning for well over a decade now for the sewer design, and it will be integrated into the Stanley lift station, reducing the cost of a new lift station for Berry Hills. And design of about 12,000 feet, or design of 12,000 feet of existing sewer collection system and rehabilitation methods of pipe bursting and curing in place in some of your main worst identified worst systems. And you can see on the map here, you see the legend. It says pipe bursting, CIPP, and proposed are the 3 colors that are on here, and those are the areas that are going to be worked on, along with all the red manholes that are scattered throughout the village. And then in all those areas where we are replacing or improving the line, we will also replace the service lines in those areas, so the will last another 20 to 30 years.
Okay. And the lift station is located, the old lift station, the one that's where.
Yeah, Stanley lift station, we have your current task order to finish up the design, and we're close to completing that for you, so we can get it fixed before it fails on you. Mm-hmm. And then this is will replace the other 2.
Yeah, that was by current steel.
And the other thing, just want to let you know, the Eileen mentioned the your Milan Industrial Park. There's a design on that. We'll also include a sewer CAD model to ensure that it all meets your current flows and your projected flows if that industrial park ever comes to fruition. Okay? Because as you can see, some of that line is right down in the main trunk area. Hopefully the exhibits you can see well enough.
Yeah.
Any questions?
Any questions? No. This is a long time coming because our water department department head has been concerned about this one for quite a while. So it's good that we're gonna finally start on it.
This design service, there will be 12 progress meetings throughout the design. I do need 2 of you to volunteer if you'd like to sit in on those meetings.
I'll do it.
We'd love to have anybody on this.
So we have Mayor and Trustee Mercer.
Yes. Okay, thank you, sir. Thank you so much. Good information. Okay. I need a motion to approve the task order with Wilson and Company.
I'll make a motion to approve the task order with Wilson and Company for the sewer system improvement design.
I'll second it.
Motion by Trustee Mercer, seconded by Trustee Lopez. Mayor Pro Tem Brumbo.
Yes.
Trustee Mercer.
Yes.
Trustee Lopez.
Yes.
Thank you. Task order with Wilson and Company for Airport Road Phase 2 Bridge.
Mr. Mayor, members of the board, at this time, we're asking you to table this item. Do
Okay.
you have further?
So, yes. So we have received funding for both phase 2 and phase 3. So what we're wanting to do is we're looking at possibly combining them. I've been talking to Eric at Wilson and Company, and we're thinking that if we combine the 2 projects, get one contractor, one bid packet together, it will save the village. Save the village funding in the long run. It'll be easier for traffic control and design. Construction timeline would be easier to control. So At this time, I'm asking you to table it for, hopefully the next meeting.
That's good. That's fine.
You're gonna try to meet with the DOT at the same time, correct?
Okay. I need a motion to table letter Q.
I make a motion to table, the task order with Wilson and Company for the Airport Road Phase 2.
I'll second it.
Motion by Mayor Pro Tem Brumble, second by Trustee Mercer. Trustee Lopez.
Yes.
Trustee Mercer.
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Brumble.
Yes.
Thank you. Okay, discussion action of CCEDC contract scope of work amendment.
Mr. Mayor, members of the board, this is brought to you, I believe it was tabled last regular meeting. And when you had awarded the money, you had specified that we would not do salaries and benefits. And that is item number 16 that is in this amendment.
Any questions? No? If not, I need a motion to approve, please.
I make a motion to approve CCEDC contract scope of work amendment.
I'll second it.
Motion by Mayor Pro Tem Brumble, second by Trustee Lopez. Trustee Mercer.
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Brumble.
Yes.
Trustee Lopez.
Yes.
That was a hard one, I guess. Updates of village manager for all other departments.
Afternoon, Mr. Mayor, members of the board. It's been a very, very busy month since the last meeting. However, I'm going to make this short. There was a lot of meetings that we attended, both myself and members of my team. We did a walkthrough at the station for the fire department. There was no items that were identified to be put on the punch list. Denise is in the process of closing that project out. We met with Smith Engineering with Wilson. Was it Smith? Yeah,
What's I'm sorry.
it was Wilson. I thought I had that wrong. We met with Wilson and Company on the design for Stanley Station, and that was a 60% design. We discussed items that we wanted to see, items that needed to be removed off that initial design, and we will be meeting with them again on February the 1st on the 95% completion. I attended a meeting with Core Civic. These meetings are being held every month. The meeting we had in December, there were a lot of issues that was brought to everybody's attention, and a lot of those issues have been resolved or are in the process of being resolved. Communication is getting better out there. The office team is meeting every morning to discuss what's going on in their specific areas, any issues we might have, any problems they might be facing, if there's any help they need or assistance. And these meetings seem to be very productive and seem to be helping morale. Water department has been working with the contractor to tie in water service lines for the newly laid water lines. Building maintenance, they repaired and painted water damaged ceilings in the new village hall. That was in one of the restrooms. Cabinets have been relocated. Lewis has met with the contractor to discuss electrical issues that are mostly in the swimming pool. And he has done some minor electrical repairs that did not require the electrician. He assisted with parks employees to set up and decorate for the Christmas party. And then they all cleaned up afterwards. It seemed to be a very good success. Streets has been picking up trash, patching potholes, cutting weeds, blading roads, and installing signs. Swimming pool and recreation started selling popcorn and water at the games on Saturday. They've also hired a full-time and a part-time person for lifeguard. They were hoping that they will be able to train and become fully certified lifeguards by the end of this month. The mechanic's been working, repairing and fixing tires. He's fixed tires on the backhoe, the front end loader. He's checked and installed brake pads on 3 of the units. Installed brackets on the new mower and backhoe. And with that, I'll stand for any questions you may have.
Anybody have questions? If not, thank you very much. Projects.
My computer died, so I have given you all a project update listing. As you know, we had some issues yesterday with the soccer field. We had an update meeting, and they did request a fairly large change order. The board had already told them that we were not going to do change orders, so I spoke with some of the people at Wilson and Company, and they have found a way to work through this issue with us. The plan is we're going to remove the contract portion for the drive path from the current contractor. Set that money aside that we already awarded. We're not going to add any additional money to it. What we're going to do is we're going to have someone else come in and do that drive path for us. This will meet state DOT code. And Wilson and Company has said that they will cover any cost above the amount that the village has already committed. So they're very willing to work with us, and hopefully we can get past this project and move forward. Airport Road Phase 1 is going great. The water tie-ins are all done. Thanks to our crew with the water department and the contractors, they've been able to tie in completely. The water line is now active. The contractors have poured some concrete for the drain manholes, and we have noticed there are several people moving traffic control in the evenings or nights, weekends. We don't know when. The contractors are going through their daily trying to put it back. They've tried putting berms up to keep people out. People just want to drive through there. I don't know. We haven't had any major incidents yet, but they're doing everything they can to prevent it. Airport Phase 2 and 3 both have received funding. That'll hopefully be on the next agenda. He went through the sewer system design with you all. Cottonwood design is a design only, and once the design is complete, this one is with Smith Engineering. Once the design is complete, we'll be able to seek funding for construction. Swimming pool, we are waiting on SDB construction for roofing the middle of the building. Contract start date is still set for March 1st. We also have an active contract in place for HVAC replacement by B&D Industries. As soon as the middle section of the roof is done, the HVACs will be placed. They will not have to shut the pool down for this. We're hoping to get capital outlay for the remaining items of the pool, which will include the entire roof over the main pool building and a bunch of indoor improvements that are very much needed. Fire department Phase 1 is completed. Fire department phase 2 was on the agenda. You guys saw what was gonna happen there. For Kernsfield, we have close to 150,000 for upgrades for the building and the surrounding areas. Our current priorities are to place red clay on the infield. We're looking for a contractor right now for that. The concession building that is out there is a good building, but the roof is not very old. Does need some paint and some interior improvements. It's aged. I've been in discussion with the mayor. It'd be in our best interest to have a prefabricated concession building to place somewhere near the parking area because of the fact that the existing building is causing some issues with the distracting the players and the umpires and stuff. So I would like to, once we figure out what the infield's going to cost, go out and see if we can afford to get a prefabricated concession like we're doing at the soccer field, but do it on our own instead of having all those issues. The next priority, if we have anything left after that, would be to place some dugout buildings on the second field. Public works equipment, we've been able to locate a dump truck and we're waiting on a quote to include salt spreaders and dump attachments with a push blade for the front so they can do snow removal. Hopefully that'll be on your next agenda as well. The Stanley lift station design is going great. We should have a complete design set, project manual, and bid package ready to go hopefully next month. Wilson and Company's been working on that. Water system improvements, that was presented to you this evening. Next month we do need to, if we're going to do a CDBG project this year, we need to do a project selection. If we're going to wait till next year, we need to make that decision. Some of the projects that came up were Willow and Pinon, which is also a capital outlay request this year, and TJ. Both of them are in desperate need of repairs. Do you guys have any questions?
Any questions? Nope. Okay, just a little clarification on the consensus stand. It's because nowadays concession stands are not built to be next to the dugouts. If you notice, if you go anywhere to baseball parks, the Grants one is way out. Second of all, we do have flag football that participate in that, so we kind of want to be a little bit closer to the flag football field also, so they can utilize the same concession stand. So that was the reasoning for that. Thank you, Denise. Thank you very much. Fire chief.
Good afternoon, Mayor, Board of Trustees. Short people.
Hey, come on now.
Take me to grow up. A lot of things happened in December, but you have my packet, and if you have any questions, you can get in that. Just touching on a few points tonight. December, we had 93 total calls. And for the year, we had 1,021 total calls for the year. That's up about 2% from last year. Since I've been in this position, that's what I've been seeing each year, is about a 2% increase in volume of calls. And we've kept up with them quite a bit. Reported them to the state, with our EMS, image trend, so that's big because it helps us with grants, money. One guy, I didn't even know it was coming from that. He was Brandon Garcia. I want to start trying to get our volunteers out into the public, and you guys know who you're seeing. Some of them walk into the front office and the girls are asking, who is that? The village is small, but yet big. We covered the remodel. Phase 1 is complete. Just waiting for the closeout packet. I'm sorry. Looks really good. They did a really good job. Trustee Lopez, whenever you got a free time,
Okay.
come on by and look at it. Don't remember what was there. Got so much action going on. Phase 2, we did get that $400,000 grant. Thank you guys for approving the proposal. The total amount was $477,589, and the remainder of that $77,600 looks like I'll still be able to cover that with carryover funds. If not, I'll do that. The AFR grant did come out, the FEMA grant opened 2 weeks ago, and it closes now February 10th. I'm gonna see what I could do. I was already with.
It's such a short window to fill out such a huge application for grant. I don't know if I'm going to be able to do it or not, but definitely I hope next year I'll be a little more prepared and phase 2 will be done and I won't have to worry about completing phases and stuff, and I could work a little more on getting us a lot of more money on that one. Things have been normal around the village. Winter is here, so we've been in collaboration with the State Highway Department on their snow removal program. I do want to give kudos to our village employees the other night for the salting the roads. I mean, the citizens have came to me and told me that they were really impressed that the roads were cleared the morning they came into work. That is huge. They said it was very huge. They haven't seen that in a long time. I did send an email out to them thanking them. Like I said, December was a lot of items, but you've got my packet there. Otherwise, I'm going to keep it short, and if you got any questions, I'll be happy to answer any.
Questions? No? I'm glad you kept it short, because look who's coming up. Police chief.
You know, Good evening, Mr. Mayor, members of the board. Keeping on the trend here of keeping it short, I'm going to hustle through this as well. It's been a long night for you guys, so I say that, so try to hold me to it. You do have my statistics for December. You have code enforcement, animal control as well. If you have questions on those, feel free to ask. Everything looks pretty consistent from the prior months. The one I always pay attention to is our auto crashes, excuse me, which were down a little bit in December. Statistically for the year, auto crashes, we handled 62 crash reports, which, you know, that's still quite a bit for our little village. What I did discover, and which we were aware of, was 42 of those 62 crashes came at the Loves and petrol truck stops. So we are working on a plan to tie that in, because that's quite a bit of crashes for 2 streets in our community. So we're working on that, but the other stats, if you have questions, let me know. Our medical calls were down too. That's been something I've been looking into. We get sent to a lot of medical calls as well, along with the fire department. Some of the stuff going on is with changeover at the sheriff's department. We had been working previously with the admin with drug task force. So with the new sheriff, new undersheriff, we're getting that back together again, and getting some of the surrounding agencies involved as well. So we already have some plans and some operations scheduled for next month with county, Grants PD, BIA, Homeland Security, and DEA are supposed to help us out. So it should be pretty interesting. Last I mentioned, we had a couple applicants. We do still have one in the process. There was something, we're doing a thorough background, which is important. we did discover something that pushes start date back. So we're still hoping to get him on board as he clears that up. The other applicant we were hoping to add with the retention and recruitment of our local agency has decided to pull her application. So it happens. I mean, that's what the money's there for, is to hang on to retain your officers that you have. So it's working, just not for us with that applicant. So, but we're confident we'll get the other position filled here. I did come across, through a class I'm taking, a department job satisfaction survey that I passed on to our manager. It was very interesting, just to gauge the results of the officers, the staff at my department over there, on our job satisfaction. And I was very surprised that a lot of the scores were above normal. And I didn't know they were that happy. So I think if the whole village took these, maybe we could get a better gauge on what areas we're lacking as a village for job satisfaction. It showed me where we needed to improve as an department. I will say supervisor was very high. So that's the sergeants. I'll give the sergeants all the credit for that one. But it's a good idea. Hopefully we could get that implemented to gauge how happy our employees in our village are. And I'll be very surprised if we weren't close to normal or higher, because we have a good bunch out here. Sergeant Galindo completed a leadership course at Central New Mexico College. It was a 12-week course. So I tried to get him to be here tonight, give him a pat on the back, because he deserves it. Those classes are pretty tough. And 12 weeks is a long time to stay dedicated, and he learned a lot that we're going to be able to utilize. We had our first, where'd it go? Coffee with the Cop. Again, it's the first Wednesday of every month, 11 o'clock at the Transit Center. Didn't have the turnout we were expected, but we got a lot of good intel, got a lot of good information from those that did show up, and we're hoping those numbers are gonna increase as the word gets around. And we had our first responder support group recently as well, which it went better than I expected, with people opening up, and that's important. Bless you. That's important for us to take care of each other in our professions, and especially our first responders that are seeing a lot of stuff throughout our career. So I did mention last month that I need to do a better job recognizing my staff over there. It's something that, I take for granted, the job they're doing. So having that theme in mind, I got Officer Aragon here tonight, who handled a fire incident earlier this year, the first week. So I did get him a letter of commendation, and this is what I get for trying to speed through this. I'm trying to catch my breath now. So.
Loosen your bed.
I know. So, I got here, Officer Aragon. I've been informed by Fire Chief Uroste? Close enough. Of a job well done by you in regard to a house fire that occurred during the first week of the new year. You handled that scene in a professional manner and assisted whenever requested. Your report was found to be very well written and detailed. Your efforts on this night are nothing new to those that get to work with you. Your hard work and willingness to protect the community does not go unnoticed, and those traits were highlighted on the night of this incident. Please accept this letter of commendation for your hard work and willingness to assist in keeping our community safe. So what I learned through our fire chief and Sergeant Galindo, and the fire chief throwing out comments for the police department, that's rare. So I was like, something had to be done. And feel free to, you were there, you were present on Officer Aragon's actions, but I heard he didn't hesitate. He got into the house, preserved life, did what he needed to do. Whenever the fire department made a request of him, he was quick, to handle it, get the job done. So that's what we're looking for. And, I know that's what Officer Aragon does on the regular, but often it gets unnoticed because we expect it, but to hear it, I was like, wow, I got to do a better job of displaying what these guys are doing, because these guys do an amazing job, and it's just the recognition needs to be put out there more, because they do great work. To go along with that, you guys read about the stabbing we had. Our two youngest guys were on scene, handled that scene great until we get a couple of us other guys over there to assist. So these guys are doing an excellent job, and Officer Aragon, I want to make sure you got recognized for this. And thank you, man. Excellent work. That's all I got. I tried to get through it, Mr. Mayor, quick.
Thank you. Any questions for the chief? No? Thank you.
From the public comment earlier on the school incident,
Next week, Chief and I will be doing a second meeting with the school supervisors and higher ups at the school. They're doing a community safety deal with all the law enforcement, all the first responders, all the fire, emergency management. We're doing a tabletop the day before, mainly towards active shooters and stuff like that. And then the next day, the 25th, we're going to be doing an actual meeting. So to go along with that public comment earlier tonight, that's kind of where we're headed on our side. As far as what's going on with the student, that's, like you said, that's out of our deal. So just to bring that to your attention.
And the piggyback, I spoke to her out there, and there was a police report done. She did talk to Sergeant Nails, but she took the report, so she was a little bit happy with that information.
thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, board comments. Start with Trustee Mercer.
I'd just like to say a shout out to for all the hard work that all the first responders, how they work together and interact with each other, because it's about teamwork. We can't do it without it. And then also with the proactive approach to the office people, how they're getting together and kind of sorting their day out to get going to, so everybody knows where everybody's at that way. And then it was mentioned earlier by Daniel, the snow removal. I appreciated it. Wake up and they're sanded and they're cleared. Very much appreciated. That's it.
Thank you, sir. Trustee Lopez.
Pretty much the same thing as Trustee Mercer was saying. It's good to have good teamwork with the first responders. Also teamwork with the financials. We're doing good. And just thank you to all the employees.
Mayor Pro Tem Brumbelow.
I also would like to say thanks to the employees for the streets. That was the best we've had in years. So it was great for those guys out with their hard work doing that cold day. Also, I'd like to say thanks to all the people, the office people that worked on the audit, for us to have such a good audit. We're very appreciative. Thank you.
Okay, I only have a couple. It was an honor for me to speak at Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. celebration they had in Grants. I kind of threw the Village of Milan in there, like I always do, because that's what I do best. Anyway, I too had a lot of citizens comment on the roads, how clearing of the roads and sanding the roads. That was a good thing to see coming back. And I just want the village to continue doing what we did this past year, work together and just continue to move forward. Thank you very much. That was kind of short for me. Okay, announcements. Hearing for rezone will be January 26th, 2023. And hopefully we won't forget that one. And special board meeting, January 26th, 2023 at 5 p.m. Planning and zoning meeting, February 2nd, 2023 for 30 p.m. Board of Trustees regular meeting, February 16th, 2023 at 5:30 p.m. And if nothing else, I need a motion to adjourn.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
I'll second the motion.
Motion by Trustee Lopez, second by Mayor Pro Tem Brumble. Trustee Mercer.
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Brumble. Trustee Lopez.
Yes.
Thank you. This meeting is adjourned.